So we'll take a question and we'll explain how much part we can able to tell. So like that we can take multiple type of questions also, how much part we can able to tell also. Okay. So first of all, the question is what is a DNS? So guys, tell me what is DNS?
Domain
Domain
name
name
system.
system.
Very good. Domain name system. Okay. So DNS server. Yes means system. So total domain name system server it is. Okay. It is a server. Every server is a nothing but a service oriented server. Okay. Maps name to IP address. Very simple. It maps name to IP address. In some places, people will tell translate. It is exactly say not a translate. It's a mapping is there. Okay. It maps name to IP address. Exactly say. Okay. So fqdns are you can say like a name means like here it is domain name or host name under domain. So explanation is quite easy. Explanation is like this one is quite easy, but in interview answer is very difficult. You are asking very good question. That is okay. So I can easily explain like this is my domain.com. Under domain.com, I have a host. Okay, that's the host records is capital A, and I have an IP address like this. So it's a pc1.domain1.com is a fqdn. So that is quite easy to tell. But how to convey in the sentence without showing any picture like that? Okay, so that is fully qualified domain name is pc1.domain1.com just for a understanding only. Okay, so how to convey remaining part in a DNS, that is very important. Okay, so you have to give one example for that one. So like mobile phone contact list. Nowadays, you have a mobile phones in everyone hand. So in a mobile phone, we have a contact list like a name and a phone number. Okay, so we can say DNS server maps name to IP address. Okay, in a just like a for example, or for example, or just like a mobile phone contact list. In a mobile phone, we have a name and phone number. Okay, so phone numbers are difficult to remember. That to lot of numbers, right? So it's very difficult to remember a lot of phone numbers, right? So a lot of numbers are difficult to remember. Okay, so what you will do, we save numbers, we save numbers in contact list. We dial to name, but call goes to phone number only. So this is the last time one direct question they asked. So tell me DNS in a the way of tell me DNS with the example of phone number contact list. Directly they are asking. Also, you can pick an example and explain. So, what is a DNS? Similarly, DNS server maps name and IP addresses. So when we want to communicate to a device with a name DNS server return IP address of device. So that's how we can say explanation is quite easy. That's why I'm not putting a picture here. Okay, explanation is quite easy. Okay, like a picture and like that is quite easy, but how to tell directly in an interviewer? Okay, so it is very simple. DNS is a domain name system, maps name to IP address. It is like a how you store phone numbers in your contact list, like a name and phone number. So whenever you call to someone, so we take a name and we dial it, right? So then automatically call goes with a phone number only. Call goes with a phone number only. Similarly, so whenever you want to communicate to a device or a host or a URL or a domain, we want to communicate to a device, so a particular device, or maybe a particular host or a particular mm, domain or URL host. Okay, so with a name, so you want to communicate with a name. Okay, so then the request go to DNS server and request go to DNS server. Okay, so DNS server or IP address of request go to DNS server for a IP address of that host or a device or a domain or URL. www.google.com is domain name. Google.com domain name. www.google.com is a particular host or a subdomain. Okay, http colon slash slash www.google.com is URL. But URL includes, what is the URL? URL is a complete line, the complete location with the protocol. Okay, the location, okay, universal resource location, right? The location of the destination. So complete location address is there in URL. The domain part is different. For example, guys understand URL to normal domain name. For example, you have a google.com. Domain name, just a domain name, not a domain. Remember, okay? So last time, one of batch, Sai sir asked a question to that batch, what is a domain? He said like a google.com is a domain. That's it. So never say like that answer. Okay. So this is a header. Okay. So this is the header. This is a domain, and this is the host in the domain, or a particular host means there is a machine in the domain, or a particular header in the domain, kind of stuff. It means or a subdomain. It's subpart only. The main domain is this one. This is a top level domain. This is called a top level domain. Okay, this is a domain. This is top level domain, and it is subdomain. Okay, But whenever I put a http colon slash slash, sorry, https will be there. So this is the URL. Okay, this is the URL. How it is differ? So for example, if I put a like this, for example, this is the no, no, types. For example, like this. This is the domain. This is the complete host address. Okay, this is the domain along with this one host kind of stuff. But this is the location of the data. Location of the data. This is the protocol. But whole set is URL. Whole set is URL. The URL contains a domain. Okay, URL contains domain, name or location. Maybe it is not there. It may be I have a win s11. I don't have a domain here. I have a server name in these cases also. Okay, so that's why I put a URL. URL is represent complete resource location. In this one, either you specified a domain name or a server name or a fqdn, fully qualified domain name. Okay, so whatsoever it is, we need an IP address for this one. You don't need an IP address of this one. We need an IP address of this one. Okay, we need an IP address of this one. Okay, so or like that. So anything you can able to take. So this is the URL. Okay, universal resource location. So but it contains, if in case if it is content, mm, for example, this is my URL. Maybe so why we are putting so many things? It's simply like this. Something like I have a server and it contains a website or some data in that web application is running. For example, I'm accessing. So it is showing HTTP or HTTPS colon slash slash an IP address and the name. This is also URL, but we don't need a DNS here because of I'm accessing through IP address directly. I don't have an IP address. I have only name, so I need a DNS in that one. Okay, I need a DNS in my network. If I have IP address, I will communicate with the IP address. Okay, I cannot remember multiple IP address. I am using DNS. So that's the three things you should understand. In any URL, if you take any URL, the URL contains either your destination server IP address or a destination host IP address, destination host domain name or fqdn or a direct server name. So if you have IP address, you don't require DNS server. If you don't have IP address, you need a DNS server. Okay, it means you have a name or a fqdn or a domain name. You need have a host name, just a name, or fqdn, fully qualified domain names or domain names have there. So then we need a DNS server get IP address to get IP address. If you have IP address in URL, no need of DNS server. So that is remember. So when you have a host name or fqdn, so DNS server is required to get IP address. of host or a fqdn. So remember that one and try to put it in an answer. Okay. So whenever we want to communicate to a device, domain, or a URL or a host with a name, the request go to DNS server. So for IP address of that host or domain, the DNS server search in records in DNS server zones and returns IP address of the device. Okay, so you can compress it also, guys. You can compress it. So the whole part of I'm trying is how to tell an answer. So I'm trying to frame the answer first and then practice the framed answer and try to give the answer at the time of interview. That is very important. Okay, so that's like you take a question and you can frame an answer and you can speak it. If you are unable to frame an answer or you don't know how to speak an answer, we can discuss how to do it. That's my point. Okay. DNS, domain name system. My point is, as much as things, better to add it smoothly, simple way, easy point way, not with the explanation, not with a lot of explanation. So when you go with the story kills the time, good, that is also, but problem is you are unable to express the story easy way, then it is fireback sometimes, like a Dora process kind of stuff. Okay, so sometimes it will fire back. So pretty straightforward answer is very important. So DNS, domain name system, port number 53. If you want, you can tell that one also. Fine. This is purely optional at time of what is DNS kind of stuff. It maps name to IP address. So name means what? Name means fqdn, fully qualified domain names. Okay, like that. Okay. Name to IP address. It is like a mobile phone contact list. So whenever you want to communicate to anyone, you will communicate with the phone number only. But whenever you are unable to, you can't remember all the phone numbers, right? So what I will do, I will create a contact list, name and a phone number. So when you dial to the name, you will get you will go call goes with a phone number only. Similarly, we are communicating to different uh, systems in the network. For example, google.com, doc.google.com, microsoft.com, savantis.com. Okay. Um, irctc.co.in, irctc for Indian railway reservations. So keep telling like that examples. Okay, I'm irctc, maybe tcs.com, cognizant.com. Okay, so like that, gmail.com, yahoomail.com, uh, Microsoft Teams related. Okay, so we communicate in a network with different domains or fqdns. Okay, we are communicating to different things like google.com, yahoo.com, gmail.com, microsoft.com. Okay, so don't know IP address of, we don't know IP address of the destination. So whenever we communicate, so DNS server returns. So request go to automatically, request go to DNS server automatically. Now, we are not sending any request to DNS server directly. We are automatically DNS server, request go to DNS server. DNS server search in the DNS server database and it returns DNS server database. It returns the IP address of particular host. So that is DNS server. Okay. So guys understand? I've written something, but I didn't told same. Okay. I told different thing. Little similar, little not different. But every time you practice, more smoothness will come up instead of confusing. So if you are by harding or you have to stick to the line, that time you will may not tell an answer very smooth at the time of interview. So my point is, better practice the answering. Practice answering. How to tell an answer. That's why I keep pushing you guys to speak up, like tell me this one, tell me this one. So why? Because if you keep speaking, the fear of speaking at the time of interview, we are habituated to speak to face, right? Now this is online type, means without knowing how the other faces look like, so we have to speak, right? So that's the thing. This is one part. So there are a lot of parts are there. If you got this point, I will tell other things about DNS, or what to tell, what not to tell, like that. Can I go again? Otherwise, if you got it, okay. If you don't get it, I will tell again.
Got it.
Got it, right?
Got it, sir.
So simple definition, if possible, port number. Why I'm telling port number, guys? Because when you told port number for a DNS or DHCP, so obviously there is a question will come up. So what are the port numbers? Okay, tell me a 10 port numbers. So you already know port numbers. You already know the port numbers. You can easily tell the port numbers. So try to cover up with an questions and answers, which is you already know better. Which is already know better. That's the way of interact with your interviewer. Okay. So port number 53, DHCP 6768. So last time someone got a question, that is telnet port number. The question is telnet port number. Yeah, this is a batch 12, right? Somewhere DevOps pipeline, that is, we are not involved in that one. So somewhere I've seen. I will share these questions to you Monday or Tuesday, because these interviews also not completed. Batch 12. See, protocols, WC command, word count command.
So how can
Transaction,
we say protocols?
what it is?
Protocols.
We forget protocols and port numbers.
Yes, yes, sir. I knew it.
See,
Only that's it. No?
what is DHCP? What is this DS number with the protocol number? So does a telnet have a port number? What it is? Okay. So what is DNS and its port number? Okay, I will tell port number. Okay, if I forget, please remind me. Okay, so I will note down. Otherwise,
Sir,
guys,
how?
this is the yeah.
Sir, I knew these protocols, but how to explain? Only the protocols and port numbers is enough for that question.
Yeah. So first of all, list of port protocols and port numbers. That is very important. List of protocols and port numbers. HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, like that. If they pick up something about explain this particular protocol, explain about a FTP.
Yes.
You can tell a file transfer protocol. Only one sentence. Like by the name, you will understand what is the use. Like you already know FTP. So well-known protocols only. Okay, known protocols are there. Managed protocol port numbers are there. But what I'm saying, well-known port numbers. Well-known port numbers or protocols means which we already use, like a HTTP HTTPS, FTP, SSH, Telnet, SNMP, POP3, IMAP, Kerberos, LDAP, RDP, NTP, okay, TFTP if you want TFTP, otherwise leave it also. SNMP. These are the well-known protocols because regularly we are using that one, so we don't require any other things. And there is a tricky questions also there, like a TCP, UDP port numbers. Yes, TCP, UDP having a port numbers. There are also protocols. TCP is a protocol, UDP is also a protocol. Okay, so don't get confused by the questions or a confusing thing, guys. There is not at all a confusion. You know a question, you know answer already. Only thing is you have to tell an answer. That's it. How much twist he is doing, just keep it on, keep your mind on the main part of question only, okay. So do not think there is a question so you don't know, does not mean you don't know anything. Interviewer also will tell like you don't know anything. You don't know, at least you don't know the port number of HTTP, how you know all these things. It is not required for you to nothing like that. I speak lot of things. I speak about DevOps. I speak about networking, like this. So many things I speak. Even I don't know so many things. I don't know so many things. Okay, like that. I don't know something like I don't know a particular thing. I don't know .NET, how to execute a .NET program. I have only tried once. I don't know how to execute that. I don't know Java programming. It does not mean I don't know everything, right? Like there is a senior surgeon is there. He don't know what is the use of some needle. Does not mean he don't know everything, right? So this is similar. Okay. So what is protocol? That's we can able to explain what is the meaning of protocol is. Protocol is used to understand the request. So you are sending a request or receiving a request response. Without sending a request, you don't receive anything, guys. In a networking, you must send a request and you will receive a response. You send a request, you receive a response from the destination, right? So without sending a request, there is no response anyway. Okay, so that is the first thing. The second thing is to understand what is request. So to understand what is a request or to request, so we use the protocols. HTTP request, web access. HTTPS, web access with encryption, SSL encryption. FTP, you want to upload or download a data. HTTP, FTP done, right? Telnet for remote connection. SSH. So anyway, I started, so I will tell HTTP, HTTPS. If any question is like a random, tell me about some protocols and explain the protocols and port numbers. So well-known one you can tell, which you don't know. They ask a particular protocol which you don't know. You can tell like, sir, I remember this part only. I know these protocols, but I never went to this particular protocol. Like you can go through it. Okay, so you can tell what you know also. That is very important. So that's otherwise what happened. If you say I don't know, for example, the guy is asking a question. Tell me about mm, a TSL port number, TSNL port number, or maybe a lot of port numbers are there. No? Tell me about 10294 1094 port number, or maybe like there's ports. Yeah, NFS, CIFS, okay, CFS or a TCP like that. So they ask question. ICMP protocol. ICMP is also a protocol. Okay. Echo request. Like you can tell about something about it if you know. You can tell about something. It is completely new thing. So guys, you can tell like, sir, I never went to this one. I know this one. So I am going to tell like this. You can able to convey. You can say I know this particular thing, but I know this one. So like that. SSH also used for remote connection. SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol, simple mail transfer protocol. POP3, SMTP used to send a mail from client to server. POP3 is used to pull the mail from server to client. IMAP version 4 is also pull the mail from server to client. Pull the mail from server to client. See, three are mail communication. You have to remember these three are mail communication. These are for a remote communication. RDP is also remote connection. FTP file transfer purpose. NTP network time protocol. SNMP and monitoring purpose. Simple network management protocol. DNS, DHCP. Yeah, there is some people will ask a question, that is, tell me the port number of ADDS, Active Directory, uh, Active Directory protocol or a port number. There is no specific protocol port number, even though Google also don't show it. Only one protocol it will show, that is belongs to GC, Global Catalog Related Protocol. That's it. Okay. But Kerberos and LDAP are authentication protocols. Okay. So, guys, can you tell me what is the port number for HTTP?
80.
80.
Very good. 80.
443.
43,
2021.
2021,
23.
Very good.
22.
11,
You have to tell fast.
110, 110,
143.
143.
389,
89. Sorry.
123,
53. 67. 68.
Kerberos.
88.
33,
Good.
89.
Oh, it's you remember 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So almost 10, at least 10 plus. You remember, that is very important. Okay. Already I told guys, lot of port numbers are there, almost 1,000 port numbers are there. So no one can able to remember everything. It does not mean no need to remember. I am telling the frequently used protocols and port numbers compulsory, no, and this one. Why we cannot able to remember, that is also there is a reason. Reason is the repeated revisions or a practice or teaching not there. That's why we will forget. Okay. For example, if I don't have any class regarding protocols, port number, nothing is touching for the next 6 months or 1 year, it may difficult for me to remember recollect one or two things only. Why? Because of I'm keep doing this thing from so many years, so I can able to remember. Okay, so I can able to remember. Very less I use SNMP, NTP. Okay, so these things very less time I speak about it. So that's why I don't remember. TFTP. Okay, if you want, you can add that one also. 69. Okay, so I keep doing it so I can able to remember. You just only once or twice you listen and then you are unable to remember. So what is the important thing is revise, keep revising, keep telling will give you more better way to give an answer at a time of interviewer as well as in a memory purpose. Keep teaching, keep telling the answer. That is the very simple key to remember. I trained some people who are their qualification is B.Tech but very poor in a communication and as well as um, in a technically also not much. Okay, some are very smart people, some are very dull people are there. Okay, dull means there are not into this one. Okay, they don't know anything about these things. So, but still, I made them to done it. So like not only in an interview point, also they are working. So very everything is they don't forget easily. So only one thing is we'll keep repeating things like a like a kindergarten school only I will teach. Okay, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that's another question is protocols and port numbers. Okay. So guys, this is about a DNS and protocols and port number came up, but I'm not leaving DNS and DHCP part because very good topics. Okay. So most of the time, the question is DNS. What is DNS server only? So very last time only they asked few questions. That is DNS records, DNS zones. Two zones are there. One is forward lookup zones. Next one is reverse forward lookup zone and a reverse lookup zone. Remember guys, forward lookup zone name to IP address again, name to IP address. Okay. The originally again as I say like this. This is the forward lookup zone query. Okay. So this is the thing again. Example is the forward lookup zone example. Domain name, under domain name you have a host and this is the host record. Okay. Next. Okay, name to IP address. So you can tell simply name to IP address. Reverse lookup zone fqdn, fully qualified domain name to reverse, right? It is IP address to fqdn, fully qualified domain name. So it is a RLZ. Reverse lookup zone is like this. 192.168.2.10 is PC1 PTR PC1 dot domain 1.com. So better take domain 1.com so then you will understand. Okay, this is the forward lookup zone and this is the reverse lookup zone record. But zone is different. It is like a 2.168.192 dot in hyphen addr dot arpa. This is the zone and this is the record. Okay, this is the zone, reverse lookup zone, and this is the record. So just for a understanding purpose only, but remember what is a DNS zone, forward lookup zone, okay, and a reverse lookup zone. Forward lookup zone, name to IP address. Reverse lookup zone, IP to fqdn, fully qualified domain name. Next, again zones. These are lookup zones. Okay, so you have to look up zones. Again, zones are there. One is primary, secondary, stub, active directory, integrated. active directory integrated. Primary zone, secondary zone, stub zone, active directory integrated zone. For example, you take this zone, it can be a primary zone, it can be a secondary zone, or it can be a stub zone, like that. Like this. This also either it is a primary zone or secondary zone or a stub zone. Primary zone is read and write copy. Okay, read and write means you can able to read zone data. You can able to read the zone data and also you can modify the data. This is read only type. It means you can view data, but you can't able to modify it or add or anything. Subzones are special zones. It contains only name servers and glue host records only. So active directory integrated is option, like a checkpoint, check type. Okay. So important is DNS data is stored in active directory database. Okay. So guys, anybody remember what is the active directory database name? Name.
For
Active directory database name.
NTDS.
Very good. Dot
DAT. DAT.
Very good. Okay. Very good. So ntds.dat, new technology directory service directory information tree.
Information tree.
Okay. So it is not very important to recollect in this situation because the class is DNS, but this is active directory database. But whenever you are studying or when you are questioning or when you are telling, okay, preparation time, compulsory guys go once again. So what happens? It will recollect, repeat. So you will remember. See, in any situation, not even if sometimes I don't feel much, not good in a mode or anything, but still I can remember, right? So have you ever seen? I use much about a PPT. Only thing is, if I want to skip the topic, I use a PPT. How many times I use a PPT to explain something? I don't use it for practicals. I don't use it. I'm preparing PPTs for a flask and few things. Only small PPTs I prepared and not completed anyway. PowerShell also I'm preparing. Okay. Okay. So thing is, I keep teaching, so I remember the things. So I'm not something like an automatically knowledge in my mind. Okay, I learned somewhere and automatically I remember and tell. No one is having a very big brain kind of stuff. Okay, some are smart people are there. I'm not anyway. Okay, I agree that I'm not a smart person, but I keep doing it. So then I can able to remember. I can able to. It take little bit time. See, it is taken little less than a minute, of course, but 30 seconds it will take time to tell what is an answer. If you keep practicing, immediately within a seconds, you can able to tell an answer. So that's the thing. That's the beauty about your part. Okay. So here it is, guys. Again, see, you create a domain. So that's a domain can be a primary or a secondary. So there must be a primary, then only secondary will be created. Okay. In a primary zone, we can able to add the information and we can modify the information also. In secondary, same zone data, but you cannot able to change it. Stub zone DNS records means name servers, different DNS servers, and glue host records means static records will be there. Okay, this is a optional. Check it. So then DNS database store in a Active Directory database. It means it's a primary zone, and you want to store in Active Directory database. You created secondary zone. You want to store in Active Directory database. So it is a like a Active Directory integrated. You don't want to store, you can uncheck it. Okay. Actually, I want to ask one more question here. No, I'm not asking because we are in a DNS mode now. So like this. So this is forward lookup zone, reverse lookup zone, and another zones like a primary, secondary, and stub zones. There is a last part is a inner records, SOA. Okay, start of authority. Okay, guys, I almost all revised the DNS part. Okay, so compulsory DNS records, name server. Name server means DNS servers only. Name server records, SOA record, DNS records, host A. It means it's a host record only with a IPv4. Okay, IPv4. Host record. What is host? It can be a server, it can be a normal machine, or anything like a host means it's a device. It can be a PC, laptop, desktop, server, Windows machine, Linux machine, whatever it is, it's a machine only. That's it. Just a device. But IPv6 host here. Okay. CNAME. CNAME is also called as alias. Alias, it means it's a alias record. Okay. Alias record. Already when I explained DNS that time, I given each and everything as an example. I have a server. My server name is something is there. Like a my server name is for example web server 1. My server name is web server 1. My domain name is domain 1. So I want to access, my client is accessing my website is webserver1.domain1.com. So instead of that one, I put a www.domain1.com. So www is alias record of, okay, so it's a duplicate name for publicly, and I'm announcing www.google.com is belongs to webserver1.domain1.com. Then it is linked to the particular host IP address like this. Okay, alias records. MS mail server. It is a MS record, like a you have a exchange records are there, mail exchange servers are there. So then obviously you have to tell this is the mail exchange server or mail server. So you have to tell in the DNS server. So that is MX record. In the MX record, you have to mention that is my mail server. PTR pointer record. Out of all records, one more record is there. Okay, so SRV records. What it is? SRV records. It is service location record. What is a service location record? SRV records will tell you who is your host master. It means who is your domain controller, who is your global catalog server, who is your primary domain controller, who is a secondary domain controller, where is the site, like that's the structure, nearest to servers, who is RODC, who is RODC, who is RODC, like that. So like that, by Kerberos, LDAP servers information will given by SRV records only. Okay, so these are the DNS records, lookup zones, and of course we involve in a port number also. DNS, what is DNS? I hope you got it thing, guys. Important is very good question, that is what is DNS? Domain name system. Port number is 53. It is a DNS is a server. So it maps name to IP address. Okay, it maps name to IP address like your mobile contact list. Okay, so whenever you are communicating to a particular domain through the internet, like, okay, so DNS server, the request automatically goes to DNS server and give the name, and we got IP address of the destination. Okay, so with the IP address we are communicating. Okay, that is also we can add a point is very easy. This similar point, like this is the point directly instead of this entire material. So I am putting a point here. It is so with just a okay, just I example wise I'm telling. I open. I put a Microsoft.com in a browser in my Microsoft Edge browser or a Google browser, anything, Chrome browser, anything. So I put a Microsoft.com in a Microsoft browser. Okay. I don't know IP address of Microsoft.com. Request as per my NIC network adapter. Okay, NIC network interface card as per my NIC's DNS, prefer DNS. Goes to DNS server. DNS server returns IP addresses to my system. Now I can communicate to Microsoft.com with IP address. Okay, guys. So this is how DNS works. So this the question is a how DNS works. Also, okay, what is DNS and how DNS works. Even the question is what is DNS, you can tell this answer along with that previous explanation. Okay, so simple step by step, if you create your answer, it is quite easy. You practice that one, it is quite easy to tell an answer. Guys, any doubts regarding DNS? Are you okay with this DNS or not?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Otherwise, check it once again. We will add it anything if you want. Yes, I told about port numbers also. I'm stopping it now. So then just relax. Take a 5-10 minutes break. Now it is 5 to 12. So 12:05. Just take a 10 minutes break. 5:12. So once we came back, then I will take an attendance. Once we back, I will take an attendance.